Welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Primary Arms. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
We
Good.
are here.
Gracie
Right.
says hi, Russ. So,
Well, I got a face paint for radio, so I decided to put some brass in my seating dial on the screen.
that's why I brought Gracie up on my lap, so we had something decent. So,
And we all want to tell you we appreciate it. Thank you, Jim. Whoa. What are you
What's it
pointing
at?
at?
He was telling you you're number one.
You bet.
He always does.
Yep.
Always will.
Since I've been gone away, I'll go first.
Yep.
I haven't been up to a whole lot. I've been just reloading away, doing some casting, and the most interesting thing I would say is trying out some new stuff from FW Arms. Believe he's already got it out, so I'm sure I can talk about it. But it's his new. So on a Dillon 1050, you have their standard priming station with that the mechanism that pulls the primer shuttle back and forth. Will at FW Arms came up with his own design. So it completely replaces every part off of the Dillon 1050 except for the shuttle. So I've been running that and testing that out for a little bit, and it's pretty awesome, really.
Give you more adjustment on the primer seating?
Well, it doesn't. The only way to adjust primer seating is on the machine itself. So this is just actually the mechanism that pulls the shuttle back and forth and picks up the primer. But the odd thing that you say the odd thing is, I don't know why, but I've been getting more consistent primer seating depth, which doesn't make any sense to me because it has nothing to do with that. So I don't know. I'm still testing. I've gone through a couple thousand pieces now, and I will be doing a video on it for us and posting that when I get that finished.
Nice.
So, Paul, what have you been up to?
I've been doing my rehab, and I'm up to 5,000 steps a day, which is my doctor's appreciative. I just got in my new Arkin 6-24 by 50 scope, and now whenever I get back home, I'm going to get it mounted up on a rifle, test it out. But it for $325, I can't beat it.
Paul, will you just say that again? Which model did you get? The EP or the SH?
SH4, the 6-24.
Okay, that's the same one I got. Yeah, it's an awesome scope for the money.
Especially right now because they're on sale for $299.
Oh.
Okay. And if with the coupon code that they have, they throw in the bag, the rings, throw lever, the bubble level, and the scope caps for $20.
Yeah, and it's got a little bag to fill up with sand.
Right.
To put, it's basically every single item they make in that little bundle.
Right.
Yeah, that scope, I honestly think I didn't get it at that discount. I think I paid the same $3, might have been $4 something.
Right.
But yeah, I think that scope's worth. I think it's worth about $1,000 almost. The quality you get from it.
Yeah.
I really wanted to get the EP, the 5. Is it 5-25? The EPs.
Right. Yes.
But that was not available, so I went with the same one you did. And I would really like to look behind one of the EP, their higher end ones, because is it SH or SHO?
SH.
That SH model is really clear. The turrets are awesome. I'm super happy with that, and I would like to pick up a couple more.
Well, now's the time to get them when they're on sale. I don't know. I mean, just the rings alone are $65 a piece when you buy them there. So, yeah, throw the coupon code for the $20. You get the rings, the scope caps, the throw lever, the bubble level, and if you don't need any more shooting bags, you can just toss them to the side.
Yeah, was it also free shipping?
Yep, free shipping and no tax. So I can't complain that way. I don't have it here, but I also got another Hollow Sun for another pistol to mount up. I got to send off to J&L for another slide grind and on a 45. So, but I got to get back home to get that and get that set up to ship to him.
Oh, that's
So,
J&L Machining out of Pocatello, Idaho.
Right. Nice work. I'm telling you that that Hollow Sun fit on that M&P 9 compact. It fit in with a snap. Okay, I mean it just went click and that was it. It didn't move. Very, very close tolerances and yeah, good price, good work. Very clean. Your son did good work.
It's probably Larry that did it.
Is that Jim making all that racket?
No, Jim's muted.
That sounds like it might be the Millthorpe duo or Mr. Nelson. I'm not sure which. Or it could have even been you, but Travis, you were muted.
It's Ray. Look at him. He's got a guilty look on his face. Both of those guys are just a statue. They're not moving whatsoever, but he's got a guilty look on his face.
We'll blame it on him then.
That's right. I got broad shoulders. I can handle it.
Well, Jim, what have you been up to?
Well, so you've been gone for a while. I attended the last month's meeting for the San Lee Gun Club, but today, this little funny looking thing I got right here, I've been working on this little project for Sharenda. It's supposed to be a pellet holder. It's made out of brass as per her specs because it's for black powder. I believe she's going to load a black powder substitute. Only thing is, the lady did not know how to measure the depth of what she called the dimple. And she showed me a picture of it. It's not a dimple. It's a pocket, like a primer pocket. And I tried to get her to teach her how to take a depth measurement. And according to that, accordingly, because of that, I believe that dimple or pocket's supposed to be in this surface right here, which y'all can see is flat. And it's even got a little tip in it, a little pointed burr. And that's where I'm going to take the material out of once I put it back up in the lathe to finish it off. But anyway, because of that, I asked Mike for permission tonight to run a little audio class on the 4 ways you can use your calipers, most calipers. I got a pair of Sarah calipers right here in my hand. How to take pretty accurate measurements. Obviously, we all know how to take a measure like so. There we go. That's outside calipers. Measure diameter of a case, like so, and all that.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah, man.
Why don't we wait until we get to that point? We all haven't gone through what we've done.
Well, anyway, that's what I was doing today and this last week.
Well, I just want to say that this is good. I know the 3 common ways to use a caliper, so I'm interested in what the 4th way is. But I believe calipers are a necessity in reloading. You
Oh,
don't.
absolutely.
A lot of people
Absolutely.
say you don't need them, and technically you don't, but I think it is a necessity.
Well, there is such a thing as a case link gauge. It's sort of shaped like a C, and it's got various links in it. That's crap. You drop it and break the damn thing. You're SOL. And you for what? FA Frankfurt Arsenal. Is that the name of them? The ones that are up there by Midway in Mexico, Missouri. They made that pile driver decapitated.
Yeah, that's Frankfurt Arsenal.
Okay. At one time they sold me a set of calipers for $13.
Plastic?
Battery operated calipers, and well, the battery door wore out, so I don't rely on them anyway. But these are actually the property of my job. Starrett 0 to 6-inch calipers.
Yeah, now I was going to say calipers are one tool that the price rank varies dramatically.
Oh
You
yeah.
can go to Harbor Freight and pick up a pair for 10, 12 bucks, or I know my son's a machinist now, and he's all of his stuff, I believe, is Starrett. I know I helped him pay for them, and they were not cheap at all.
Yep.
We're talking hundreds of dollars for one set.
Yep. Well, he sounds like he had carbide jaws in his Starrett calipers, which means they're going to outlast his grandson. Unless we drop them or drop something against them to chip the caliper.
I can't remember if they were Starrett or like Minnesota. I can't remember what they were, but they were.
Actually, I have both. This digital. This is going to be mine someday soon, and of course this is digital. But the other ones I have is what I have the Mitsutoyo, and I have an analog set that I've had since I was an apprentice. I paid about $75 back in the 70s for them.
Now, I'm sorry, Ray and Nick still need to go over, and Mike, what they've done. But just real quick, Jim, I have my opinion on calipers, digital or analog. I like analog to at least start out with. What's your opinion?
I like both.
Well,
That's
for a
no
guy
lie.
starting out with, what would you recommend?
Well, then you talk a price now too for somebody starting out, and I'd go analog. But I also make sure my calipers, one revolution is 100 thousandths, not one revolution is 200 thousandths.
Yeah, I think digital is just a lot easier for a new guy to mess up on and throw off his measurements.
Well, 25 thousandths is easy to miss on a set of analog calipers too.
But I'm sure we'll get to that here in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
What, Ray and Nick, what have you been up to? It's been a while since I've talked to you guys.
Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I had a big reenactment this past weekend. It was a good show. Got quite a few things, but one of the coolest things I think I got was, and most of the guys in the group have seen this already, our chat group have seen this, but I got a cool bomber's jacket. It's reproduction, but I got a real good price on it, so good for my display. And I got quite a few other things. Most of them are on the way still. But other than that, that was about it for me.
All I've been is traveling, so yeah, did a week of work on the road, then I got back and went on a 3-week vacation to Europe. So I mean, I haven't touched a gun in a month. So
You eat some good food over there, I hope.
oh god, good food, just a lot of interesting places. Had a good time. Recommend everybody can go over there if they can afford it. I'll find the time.
Mike, what you been up to?
Posted a few podcasts, sold a few guns, bought a couple guns. Nothing extravagant, just your basic run of the mill plastic pistols. Trying to think if there's anything else that I did.
You guys see the new Springfield Armory, the Prodigy?
Meh.
Have you held one and messed around with any, Mike?
No. We haven't got one in yet.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Springfield, but for the price, and it's a 2011, I want to go and put my hands on one because that'd be a nice backup
I'm
Pistol
thinking I
for it.
would rather buy a CZ.
Yeah, but you're
Shadow,
talking.
CZ
but how?
Shadow. No, CZ Shadow 2 or the T2. The T2 is $1,500.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking I'd rather get a T2 over Springfield.
Have you gotten in any of the new M&P, the metal framed pistols?
Not yet. No, not yet. But I don't. They're gonna go over what is just as well as the SIG ones did when they started making the metal 320s. Not very well.
They're a niche.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason
Pistol, I
people
mean-
like the
I mean,
plastic
it's-
striker fired because they're
I mean,
lighter.
Right, but I mean, like the Walther, they introduced. They were the one that introduced the heavy frames. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you got the Walther, you got the the SIG. They're all putting this out, and they're catering to somebody that it's going to shoot competition to start.
Yeah.
something
Well,
competition.
correct me if I'm. Isn't this M&P aluminum? So it's not like it added much weight. SIG, at least if I remember right, it was like a magnesium powder, and something else added to give it the weight. But the Smith and Wesson is just an aluminum frame, I believe.
Not sure.
Not
I
really
thought
added.
it added weight, but not a lot. I mean, but it added weight.
I remember watching Jerry Michalik talk about it, and it was like 2 ounce. I can't remember. I'm not sure, but it was like minimal. Which I just thought was. I wanted to put my hands on one of those too, but I couldn't see if it's aluminum and it's really not adding any weight. About picking one of those up, but
it's like if you switch your grips on your STI to the aluminum, the metal grips.
yeah.
There's there's $700 for the
Yeah.
grips, and then you add the fitting and everything else that got to go into them. But it's
So the M&P metal is 30 ounces. The normal M&P is 24.7. So they actually did it so it's not much difference in the weight.
Hey, so I got to run and go pick up my kid, and I will hopefully be back here soon. So we'll see you guys here in just a little bit.
take
Hopefully.
care.
Okay.
Be safe, Travis.
I'm just seeing what the weight difference is on the 320s. So. All right. So, Jim, you're saying there's 4 ways to measure with that caliper.
That's right. There is. That's a fact.
All right,
Okay, well,
Professor, you have the floor.
All right. Well, the first way is the old-fashioned way, obviously, inside the 2 jaws, measuring the outside diameter of your part.
Now, Jim, where do you want to measure with that? As far as the point of the calipers, what part do you want really to touch? I mean, I know they're supposed to be parallel and everything else, but you want to measure out to the edge, of the caliper jaws, or you want to measure closer to the base?
Generally speaking, Paul, it depends upon what you're checking.
Okay.
Okay, like for example, right here, you can see I've got the pellet holder inside the meaty part of the jaws.
Okay.
The part that's less likely to wear out.
Okay.
Okay. Well, by that, to address your question, now I want to measure the inside of this extractor groove. Now that's what I tried to take and do. Let me see here. Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Sorry about drifting the camera around. Anyway, I'm measuring that, but I don't generally use the fine part of the caliper jaw right out here, what Paul's talking about. I don't use it anymore, and I absolutely have to because it's too easy to wear out. And along that same lines, Travis was talking about his son and his machinist tools. I was talking about carbide jaws. What they do is they actually braze carbide on the inside of the jaw on each side. Starrett makes them too. Mr. Toyo makes them. And the carbide runs up along this fine edge. The problem with carbide is it's very, very hard. It'll never wear out, but it will chip if you drop it or mistreat it or abuse it or anything like that. I'm holding these calipers upside down so I can keep it into the focus of the camera. All right, second place you measure, of course, that everybody knows is inside diameter. Well, this is a 308 case. Inside case diameter is supposed to be 0.304. That's not quite accurate. By that, I'm saying these jaws, if I can get it to focus right, these jaws have a flat spot on them on the inside. It's too close.
And they're slightly offset.
Yeah, very slightly, because they have to pass by each other like this,
Right?
Like I'm showing you. And yeah, it's almost impossible to measure at the point. It's pretty close. It's within 2,000 thousandths, I'd say. But the thing is, you better use a pin gauge for something like that. A pin gauge is something like what I'm talking about. Is like what Paul already knows. I could tell. But the pin gauge goes inside, and if you get a good fit, just like this, pin gauge be all right for telling you the actual diameter of the case after it comes out of the resizing die. That's two ways to measure. The third way is most common. Most people don't know about it. It's very common. It's right here, this little rat tail coming out of the bottom of my calipers. And it can be used for measuring the depth of the case, like so. Pull the slide down. There you go. I got a nice measurement. And you can see it's 1.808, 1.07. And nice professional sound.
I think Jim muted himself. Yep. So.
Apologize for that, Mike. I didn't know anything, Chris. Please remove the phone ringtone. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. I forgot to unplug the phone. Anyway, I was talking about 1.808 case depth from the mouth of the case, like so. A lot of people don't. Apparently, even Sharonda didn't know that. I was trying to get her to measure the depth of this non-existent hole. Well, it's a pocket, actually. Very similar in principle and concept and size. The primer pocket hole we have here, right here. And you can even use these calipers for measuring that. And the measurement, as you can see, is 0.136. Well, if you have a 0.140 primer, that's good because that puts a lot of pressure on the anvil when you see it in this particular case. But the fourth way I'm talking about, a lot of people don't realize it exists. It doesn't exist on every set of calipers, but most of the 6-inch calipers I'm talking about have this step measurement. I'm pointing at, see this crease between the two halves of the jaws? Right there. That fourth way is like for measuring something like this shoulder on this pellet holder. I can bring that up and get a pretty good measurement on the height of the shoulder. Well, unfortunately, because of the radius that's in that corner right there, I won't get a good accurate measurement. But you can get the point. You get the idea. And the measurement, of course, is 0.316. And, well, one of the most useful ways you could do this measurement, or one of the most useful ways Paul Nelson came up with today, I never even thought about it. You'll have to excuse my seating die. It's been abused. but you could take and measure from the top of the cedar plug to the shoulder down here. Let me do it this way. Mike, let me know if I get off screen.
You're right at the top.
Okay. But you see where I'm measuring, folks? To the top of the die from the top of the seating stem. Now, if I need to shorten my case up or shorten my overall seating length by 12 thousandths, I can unloosen this nut, drive this screw in 10 thousandths, tighten this nut back up, check it again. My luck, I'll be right on the money because I over-adjusted accidentally, or either that or I'll be short, one of the two. But the point is, it's very handy step measurement. Just like this.
Because you can check it without actually having to try and seat another case.
Correct. Yeah, if you get 11 thousandths and you need 12, you know what? I'd go with that. Shoot a few and see what happens.
And it works the other way too.
Yes, of course, you can lengthen it the same way.
You got to lengthen it. You can you read what your bullet
The
seating
step is
was.
from this surface down to here.
Right.
I would never trust the size using the side of the nut, the side of this nut right here. I'm tapping with a point. I would never trust that because that actually moves. You'll never move this surface right here that my calipers are touching. But up here, yeah, I wouldn't trust that. Okay,
It's
for the
kinda like
audio folks, remember on your calipers, there's a sliding jaw on the back. And the step I'm talking about, you'll see it if you look at it. You can use that for your height and for your depth measurements. I can use this very, very easily as soon as I loosen up the jam there. And I can measure down to my glass tabletop on my desk. Now I know exactly how tall that shoulder is. Sorry, I just realized I'm off camera again. There we go.
Oh, you're doing.
What I'm talking about is some measurement like this. Sorry about the jittery camera. But anyway, now you got a pretty good picture of what I'm talking about because I'm down to a glass tabletop, nice and flat, up to the shoulder right here. That gives me the actual size of the height of the overall length of the die, which is 3.379. So there's 4 ways. Outside measurement, like so. Well, let's find out if my die is actually 7/8 fine. It's actually 7/8 fine, but it's undersized. 0.868. Well, that opened up because I slid the jaw. 0.868. And that actually is because they allow a little bit of clearance. They make it undersized because you make it a true 0.875. You'll have a devil of the time screwing it in on a 7/8 fine thread. And of course, this 308 case at the web, your reloading books will show you what it is. 0.465. I'm actually reading my measurement on screen. This is a cast bullet round, cast I made a few years ago. And let's check the overall length. Which you're going to find it short because it's a short bullet. 2.532. Second way, like I said, is the inside diameters using the pointed jaws. It gets you very close, but it's not exactly dead on accurate. You can see I'm measuring inside, and the measurement is 0.473. And again, like I said earlier, the depth is like so. Watch me drop my calipers and bend them. And my boss look at me and laugh. See, well, I bought you one. I'm not buying you two. There we go. And for those out there that are paying attention, 3.376. And again, the last way, what I consider the best way for measuring anything like this accurately, down to a good flat surface like my glass desktop. And the measurement is 3.378. That's exactly what I had a while ago. 4 ways to use calipers to measure. One of the most important tools you have in your tool set will be your digital or dial calipers.
What other measuring tools would you recommend?
If, at a minimum, a good set, and I mean good, Mitutoyo or Dexterra, and yeah, these Dexterra calipers, I don't know, I haven't priced them, but I would imagine they're about $250, $300. And my Mitutoyo, you heard me say earlier, when I was apprentice back in the 70s, cost me $75 back then. But measuring tools, D-Dub, I forget the guy's name, his handle, but D-Dub something 357 or whatever it was. No disrespect intended. I like his way of thinking. When it comes to reloading, if you're going to go digital, make sure you have analog as a backup. By that I mean I have Mitutoyo 0 to 6 calipers, but they're analog, no batteries needed. And you guys out there with your E-scales and stuff like that, that's great. But make sure you keep a set of a good RCBS 505 or OHAUS 1010, which is what I have. Make sure you keep something on hand for measuring analog when you don't have power, don't have batteries. Another tool I like that you brought up, Mr. Nelson, was that outside caliper for measuring case web diameter with a pointed tool, 2 points. I like that.
Right.
It's an outside micrometer is what it is.
Okay.
And Paul's talking, what the tool I'm talking about is it can actually measure the expansion of the web of the case when you put a little too much pressure on it, because the case expands every time. If you put a little too hot load in there, it's going to expand a little bit each time permanently.
Right.
And when it becomes a little too permanent, you're going to have a loose primer pocket. Again, your primers will start falling out. And that's not real good for
Also,
reliability.
it helps with keeping your pressures in line.
That's
so you
right.
don't go over pressure.
Well, the thing is, the only bad part about what you're talking about there, Paul, is to get the measurement, you're going to be actually after you've had the hot load through there.
Right.
But if you're careful and you work up to the hot load the way we're supposed to, the way we teach everybody, you won't get there because well, shit, I'm a little too hot already. I'm going to stop and back off and start over.
Or you work up. As you're working up, you sit down, you go, you're reading the gauge, your tool, and you get one, and you'd say you're 1/10,000th low, 1/10, and below the measurements of what a factory load would show up on that. And
then you're on a bit milder load there. The other thing is too, Paul, you made me think of this, and I forgot all about it for a long time. I have to go get it. It's out in the shed, and I'm not going to do that tonight. For my 0 to 1 mic, I got a couple. I say two ball attachments for my micrometer. What it does, it allows you to measure the inside diameter of something, the wall thickness to the outside diameter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I put 2 on there, and by doing that, I was actually able to put 2 balls on the outside diameter of the case web, like right here in the calipers, except I had instead of a flat spot and only measuring to a 0.5 thousandths, my 0 to 1 mic measures to the 10th. And I did the same thing. The only thing is, Paul has a nice frame to hold his micrometer in, and I don't. But I've done a lot of miking over the years, my career, my trade, and I can mic pretty damn consistently. If nothing else, I just use a thimble stop or the thimble ratchet.
Right. Which
Or
you
the
should do
ratchet
anyway.
stops them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should, but when you're doing 60 or 70 measurements in an hour's time, that gets pretty old pretty quick, and you learn to get the idea of where the feel of it. Your thumb is pretty close to the thumb and forefinger are pretty close to the ratchet stop anyway.
That's
you
true.
could use your 0 to 1 or 0 to 5 to 5 to 6 as a C clamp, but they won't last long if you do. Anyway, I'm going to take and mute myself here for a minute, guys. Bring the camera back up, and hopefully you'll be able to see this beautiful face of mine.
Michael Dunn is using a Redding case neck gauge when he neck turns.
Yeah.
I usually use a tubing micrometer when I neck
Exactly.
turn. I find it's a little bit more accurate as far as measuring my thickness of my brass and determine the where I want to set my neck turning tools. So, but a tubing micrometer is or a ball micrometer, whichever one you're going to call it by. They can be very, very accurate, and if you're using a dial gauge, like I believe the Redding does, I'm not sure what gauge they use and manufacture, and or if you supplied it. So there are some very, very accurate dial gauges to set up a lathe or measure neck thickness and that kind of stuff. And I know I have a Sinclair neck thickness gauge that uses a dial micrometer, and the quality of the tool is the kicker to the whole thing. Okay, Michael, it said it came with a dial gauge, but you don't know the manufacturer of what it was. But Redding's a good company. They're, I would think it's a good, I would hope it's a good tool and it gives you consistent readings. And that's the whole key to it is consistency through the neck turning. So,
Paul, have you used eye gauging gauges before?
sure do. I like them.
Yeah, because I thought you did. I'm looking for a new pair of calipers myself, and out on their site, they've got a 6-inch caliber. They call it their Absolute Origin. Origin.
Mhm.
It's a digital, and they're only getting $38 for it. So I think that's pretty reasonable.
Right. And look around because they also have one that's Bluetooth.
That's what I was about to say. Get the Bluetooth because you can, especially if you're doing case lengths or lengths,
Right.
you can get a median average of everything.
Because you can send it right to an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Let's see, what's this?
But I like eye gauging. They are not as expensive as Minatoyo or Starrett. Accuracy wise, they come certified. At least everyone that I've had.
What about Fowler? They used to be a pretty big name.
I have not played with Fowler in years. Jim? Earth to Jim. Okay.
I'm here. I'm just making a bunch of racket, and I don't want to put it on the air. But anyway, matter of fact, Fowler's my primary set of tools I use for my working career. Fowler's pretty good, Ray. They're actually I bought them because they're Japanese made. They're not American made, even though they have American in it. And I bought them because of the price. I have Fowler 0 to 5 through 1 inch increments, and then I have a Metatoyo 5 to 6.
Okay.
Those are
But
big.
anyway,
Those are
I looked up that
big.
case gauge you're talking about, that Reading case gauge, Paul. It has a
Yeah.
dial indicator on there for the presses against the anvil. The anvil is a piece of round stock, fits inside the case mouth, and it's a pretty good setup because you're using a dial indicator to go against
Mm-hmm.
the neck of the case, like so. I'm
Right.
going to zoom myself in if you folks don't mind. You're taking just like that.
Right.
And on
Yep.
the inside, it's pressed up against a piece of tubing or steel rod, round stock, whatever. But there's you have the actual wall thickness right there,
Mm-hmm.
just like that. It's a pretty good looking
Sinclair makes
setup.
one. Sinclair makes one like that. So, but it's always the gauge that makes the tool in those setups.
Yep. Michael Dunn's comment, if you don't mind, he had a ball mic, and it was first kind of hard for me to hold the gauge in case and try to work it. Well, again, that comes with practice, Michael. You hold the micrometer with your little finger, work the spindle with your thumb and forefinger, and with a little practice, you get that thing working in there. That ball mic or tubing mic is what I'm talking about. And with a little bit of practice, you get the tubing mic, you'll be just as accurate as that Reading case gauge is, and it won't be nearly as expensive.
And you want to spend $15-20 more, you can go out and buy a holder for the
Yep.
the
Basically,
mic.
all it is like a soldering clamp, or when you're trying to work between two wires, something like that, to make a wiring harness.
Right.
It's just like the third hand is all it is.
Yeah. Yes, Spudman 76. The stand for the micrometer. That's exactly what we're talking about. They're cheap.
Paul, that setup I was talking about of yours earlier, isn't that eye gauging?
Yes, that's eye gauging.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name, and Ray brought it up.
I like eye gauging. They like I say, that everything that I've bought from them has been certified, and that's a pretty good deal when they come out and they're certified. Now, calipers are not certified.
Nope. Calipers are only good for, if you're using analog, you're only good for maybe a quarter of a thousand, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
And with digital, you're only good for 500. They just can't go down any further than that. There's too much information. It's got to go through the screen, and you're never going to get down to a tenth of a thousandth of the calipers anyway.
And keeping your jaws clean and the gearing clean is very important in that.
Oh, you bet. That's why I showed you 0 on mine, because my jaws I'm always picking up. As a human hair, one human hair, even fine like ours is, or thick, of course, like Mike has, varies from 1.5 to 3 thousandths in diameter.
Right.
Piece of paper. This piece of paper I'm going to show you on screen, that's 5 thousandths right there.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think you think 5 thousandths is much. Well, when you got to work down to 1 thousandths, it's 5 times too much.
Yeah. Michael Dunn, Okay. That's why I'm saying to get a
Mic stand.
stand for your micrometer. It will hold the micrometer for you, where all you have to do is handle the case and feel the ratchet on the
Yep.
on the micrometer.
The retro stop on the end of the thimble. When it
And as
starts
long as you-
rattling, when it starts clicking, you know you've gone a little too tight. Back off and start over again. You one or two clicks, that's all you need.
You had one and you still have a problem with it, with your disability to and the measure. Okay, I understand. I mean, I have a Sinclair gauge, and Sinclair works a lot like the Reading does. I just find that I'm far more accurate because with a tubing micrometer, I can get down into 10 thousandths without a problem.
Well, Paul, to be fair, the Reading case gauge is one I saw on screen. It's got like 200 thousandths travel. Well, that's ridiculous. No brass walls, no case walls ever going to be 200 thousandths thick. But
Right.
the other thing is too, you can use the last word like range of 15 thousandths plus or minus 15 thousandths. You know what I'm talking about. I know you do when I talk about last word. That's actually a brand name. It's a very fine micrometer or dial indicator that's capable of measuring to the 10th of a thousandth of an inch.
You're right. Yeah.
That would be,
And,
you can't get more accurate than that.
no, but I'm saying that the average micrometer that people are buying out there is nowhere, I mean,
Ray, did you have something you wanted to add? Ray? No, I thought you had a comment. You wanted to make a comment. I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry to interrupt.
no. When I had my lathe and all my toolkits and everything with it, I used some of the cheap dial calipers, not calipers, but a dial indicator to set my lathe stops. Okay, so if I wanted to stop my lathe, I would set it with a magnet and there. But if I wanted to test out the concentricity of my the item that I was going to turn, get it lined up and get it true before I start turning something. Then I had a very fine indicator that was on a kind of like a lever type.
Yep. Absolutely. I know what you're talking about.
Right.
I've used them. Most machinists wind up having 3 indicators: 0 to 1, 0 to 200 stereo test indicator, which I happen to still have from the last show I put on with it. It's 0 to 1 or 0 to 2, 100,000 test indicator right here. And then the last word, tickler, they call it. Some people call it tickler. But you go down to, you have plus or minus 15 thousandths range of movement. In other words, you get it very, very close with the 0 to 200 or even the 0 to 1. But then to get it dead nuts on with plus or minus a tenth, you want to use that last word where you're actually measuring to the 10th of a thousandth. And the human eye can't see beyond 10th of a thousandth.
No, but when you're trying to true
when
up
you're building
a
bench rest gun, Paul, you're absolutely right. I agree with you 100,000%.
Yeah. Hobbies Hobo.
Good
Yeah,
comment.
good comment.
People still think they can get a Ceramatoa quality for $39. It just doesn't happen. Well
No.
said, sir. Welcome to the show, Hobbies Hobo. I don't remember seeing you in here before. You may well have been, but you forgive me for missing you. What is the trade-off? Okay, and here's the question. Benjamin, whatever. BenJ8MMIN. What is the trade-off to cheap calipers, for example?
Well,
There isn't one. If you're going to run quality ammo, you need quality calipers.
the trade-off is that if you're rough in handling them, okay, you ain't gonna cry about it. You're not spending $250 or $300 on a set of calipers. If you're gonna spend $39 or $40 or $14 on a set of calipers, if you drop and break them, okay, $14. All right, not a big deal. The big deal is you got to wait till you go get the next set. Run over to Harbor Freight or whatever and pick up, a set.
Paul, do you remember when Lyman put out a set of plastic dial calipers? Plastic frame,
RCBS did too.
slide.
Yeah.
Sir?
RCBS did too. I had a set for a while. You know where
And
they
how
sat?
did that work out for you?
They sat in my
Ray's
range
going to
box.
go get his.
No, mine went into my range box because
Okay.
if I had something out in the field that I wanted to measure or something, all of a sudden, I had something I wasn't worried about.
Exactly.
It was a.
But you also kept it in your range box and it didn't mistreat it, didn't beat it up or anything like that. Something like that, used something like that in have to emergency. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So it's it was it was a handy piece. It was analog. I didn't have to worry about batteries going bad on it or anything else. Did I use the pin gauge to check it? No. It was something to just, hey, I needed to take a quick measurement on something, or if something wasn't right, or I had to measure a group size on a target, it was there. All right.
Okay.
But
We have another follow-on comment from BNJ8MMIN. His comment is, are they as accurate? For a while they will be, yes. They won't last. You mistreat them.
Accuracy. Any of them, you mistreat any precision instrument, you might as well just throw it in the garbage. Okay. Keep them clean. If you keep things clean, you keep them out of the dirt and dust. You put them away in their box when you get done with them. Take the batteries out so they don't if between use, so they don't go bad with corrode. You're going to get a lot of life out of them. Okay. The minute you start leaving them out, let dust get all over them, everything else, the more expensive calipers will give you a longer life because they are used. In other words, Starretts and Mitutoyos were made to be used in a machine environment where you have a lot of junk, around. And I'm sorry, but machinists always take and put their calipers up on top of their lathe or off to the side of their milling machine because they're reaching for them every time something gets done. So they're always out.
Yep. I have a comment. Thank you, Benjamin. I appreciate that. Paul, I didn't mean any discourtesy. But anyway, here's one from Six Pack Project I'd like to bring up. To be honest, my start never leaves the case in a machine shop. The cheap caliper is accurate to itself. The only time the high-end caliper is needed is when you're using paper references. I do the same thing. When I just ran off a bunch of 72 steel plugs that had to be plus or minus a couple thousands. And I left my calipers in their case just like this. When I pick it up, I take the measurement, check everything. But when I put it down, it goes back in the case on a clean cart, clean table to the left or to the right, depending upon where I place the cart or table for my work. I don't put it up on top of the lathe. The reason is because what Paul just said. Guys are always knocking their shit on the floor. I don't want these $300 calipers going to the floor. Not even once.
Am I right that people put a lot of machinists put their stuff up on top or off to the side, and you know it's
a horrible habit.
It is, but they do it, okay? And
yeah, we do. We do.
I
have to admit, those calipers I've caught myself laying these calipers in different places, wrong places. When I was making this little plug for Sharenda, little brass plug, my caliper stayed in the case, except when I was actually handling them for measurement.
Now, the only guys that I have ever seen that have really, really taken care of their stuff were tool makers.
Oh yeah.
Those guys really, you know, I mean, you know, and everything they have was always calibrated out. I mean, the pin gauges were all plus and minus, you know, 5-10 thousandths. I mean, that was, you know, and they would use them to check their you know, their calipers and their other measuring tools to make sure, and they kept them at a certain temperature to you know, and that's something that a lot of people.
You're talking about guys that are working to less than a tenth,
right?
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, and these guys, you know, they're making a tool, not just not making a part. They're making a tool, so they are doing differently.
Six Pack Project. I admire what you said there. That's why you have 5 cheapies at the machines. Yeah, that makes sense in a way, sir.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, one on the Bridgeport, one on the Cincinnati, one on the Closing, one on the Tug 40, one on the Summit lathe. It's like, yeah, okay, but you're giving everybody calipers, giving everybody a different set of calipers, and each measurement could be off. But if you're working within 5-10 thousandths tolerance, that's okay. Because sooner or later somebody's going to check and see. Go ahead, Ray.
If you run a documented verification check weekly on those, you're gonna get pretty good results.
True.
Speaking of cheap gauges, this was the first dial caliber I bought 30 years ago when I got into reloading. It was less than $10 at a local store.
It's plastic, isn't it?
It's plastic. But it was amazing because it just started to slip and I don't trust it anymore. But I hate to throw anything away. But there again, analog. It's
a souvenir, Ray. It's an heirloom. That's exactly the calipers I was talking about. Lyman brand.
But what's really nice about it is the little booklet it came with. It told you all the case measurements, what to trim to, and everything else. So for less than $10 for a beginner, what I was, it worked perfect. Then as you progress in the hobby, you're going to buy better equipment.
Yep. We all grow. How long ago was that, Ray? You bought those Lyman calipers?
Oh, I think I bought those 1985.
Well, you got 15 years, 2000, and when did you quit using them? Do you remember?
About 2 years ago.
So you got good 30 good years out of them.
Yeah. And the pair I moved to, I did drop in the foot on the depth gauge, broke off, and it's catching on the little I don't know what you call it, the little flap that keeps it onto the gauge. So I'm there again. I just dropped my better pair, so I got to get a new pair. Yeah,
Yeah, but you see, that's exactly what Paul was talking about. I don't mean anything personal, Ray, of course, but the tool was abused and it responded very poorly,
yeah. It's just
and now it's giving you trouble.
yeah. So I'm going to step up and get either like I say, an eye gauging. They're not that much, or
Mike's got a good pair of calipers that you can just about knock around with a hammer. Mike, hold it up again, please. That gives you measurements to 7/1000 of an inch, 0 to 1/28, 1/28 of an inch.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep, vernier calipers. That's exactly what it is. Not many people even know how to read a vernier caliper. Can you read that, Mike? Do you know how? You're muted, Mike.
Pretty much the same way you read a micrometer, the old non-digital micrometer.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I know how. I kind of know how to read them but I'm out of practice, so it'd take me a bit. Plus, I'd have to count lines.
Well, the thing is, what we're talking about is
It's not
Mike's
great.
got a tool there that can measure 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, 1/16 of an inch, 32nd of an inch, 64th of an inch, down to 1/28 of an inch, which is about 7.5 thousandths. Or I think 7.25 thousandths. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul.
Yeah, 7.25 thousandths. But the only thing I remember having a veneer gauge for was for stuff that was over, 5 and 6 inches. Okay.
Yep.
Neighbor would want something turned or something like that, and was big, and okay, and do it that way.
These I got, and I don't remember, some thing I picked up somewhere in one of my various old reloading stuff pickup.
Well, Mike, I tell you what, the way you could check those out with a set of good calipers, you might be surprised how accurate they are.
Oh, I'm pretty sure how accurate they are. So, honestly, the two biggest fail points in your calipers are actually the quality of the jaw and the quality of the mechanism.
And the quality of the guy doing the measuring, too.
No, we're not talking about the idiot behind the controller. So,
if we're just talking the mechanical ability of them,
right?
Everybody can sit there. Now, the person that's doing the operating of them
is the biggest.
I got a real big thing about that. You ever watch somebody sit down and measure the length of a case, and the first time he runs it down and he uses his thumb and he pushes down on that roller on there and sits down and reads it, and he's pushing with his thumb the whole time, and them jaws are just going like this, they're flexing, and then the next one he sits down and he runs it and he doesn't put as much pressure on it, and he's getting a whole different reading. Now they could be the same case, you could, hand him the same case twice. And,
Mike's got his thumb on that hand wheel.
Yeah.
But yeah, the biggest fail points on any caliper is the inside surfaces here, and obviously the other contact points, and then your mechanism that rolls it along here to actually generate the measurement. And that's what failed on Ray's Lyman, is the gearing failed. And that's what you're getting when you buy better calipers, is you're getting a better mechanism that's going to be more consistent over the life of the unit. You're not going to have it skip a gear here and there while you're trying to measure things, and all of a sudden, well, I just measured that last week and it was 2 thousandths longer, and now it's, or I just measured it 3 times and I got 3 different measurements type thing. So, if you're, that's the nice thing about that vernier caliper, is there's no mechanism. So the only thing you can screw up is the jaws. So
Yeah. And who was it? Was it Minatoyo, or was it Starrett that put the magnifying glass with the lines on their veneers, calipers with lines?
I'm honestly not sure. It'd be a handy tool though.
Yeah.
So you're not like, so
yeah, they put a magnifying glass and lines on there and everything else, and it was nice. But it's like anything else. And I think Spudman 76 said it, that each one is law unto itself, and the only way that you can, as a caliper, is to measure it against a known object that is kept at a constant temperature, or one that does not react to temperature much. Because you hold a piece of metal in your hand, and it will expand. Okay, so you can it picks up the heat, it expands. So if you take it when it's cold and measure it, you got one measurement, and when you hold it in your hand, it gets hot, you got another measurement. They're not the same. Close, but not the same.
So Starrett now makes Sawzall blades.
Oh, wow.
And you can get themed micrometers in American Pride and Camouflage.
Just what I need to lose it on the on your reloading desk, right?
It's desert tan. Nobody wants that crap.
Oh.
The only thing I'd recommend, if you go digital, have extra batteries, because once you start getting weird readings, those batteries are starting to fade on you.
Sure, depending upon what they use, some use 3032s, some are 1632s, and some are 357s. Okay.
Yeah.
It just depends upon what they are.
And don't buy the cheap bulk packs off Amazon.
Yeah.
Good Duracell.
Buy the Duracells.
Duracells or the Energizers.
Yeah.
So.
I'm shocked nobody's made maybe they are, a rechargeable you plug in via USB or something like that.
Too much
You
crap to put on it.
You want to have a cable?
No, just to charge it. That way you can, when you're ready to use it, you unplug it. Maybe they make something like that. I don't know.
Well, iGaging has them where you plug into your computer through a USB port on it. Yeah. They also have a Bluetooth model.
Yeah.
And they also
on micrometers,
on calipers.
Really? I didn't see that.
And they make a Bluetooth dongle that fits into the micrometer, where it will send it off to a computer.
Yeah. our lab had the one where you get your measurement, you push the button, sends the reading to the spreadsheet on the computer. It just
Right.
takes the human error, right, and transposing numbers down.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on
$49.99.
Amazon. Yep, that's the one I'm looking at.
Absolute Origin 6-inch digital depth gauge, base fractions. Nice thing, it comes with that little base adapter too for depth. Well, that's slicker than snot on a summer day. It must have been Mitutoyo because I was checking Starrett and I do not see a magnifying glass built in. So, but to give you an idea of Starrett's cost, their standard vernier caliper is $145.
That's vernier calipers. That's not analog or digital.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, and
God,
we're just you're paying for the precision machining.
absolutely.
You know, so
The tool makers you talk about are making these measuring tools you're talking about. We
Right.
were discussing.
Right.
you know, so you know, and things are getting cheaper now because of CNC machining and everything else.
Mhm.
So you know, the threading on the on everything has gotten better. The cutting of the gears have gotten better because of it. And the only thing they worry about now almost is the wear of the tool, you know, to do some of this stuff. So
Mhm.
we come a long way. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Starrett and everybody else is not cheap. I have a set of tubing micrometer from Mitutoyo that I can't read anymore because I'm blind. That's why I went to the eye gauging because of the large numbers on it. But they were $700. You know, it's 700, 170. Okay, where are we going? Did Mitutoyo come out with cheaper ones? Yeah, they have, but when I bought mine a long time ago, $700. And they are, you know, you have to be able to read the veneer on the numbers.
Yep.
Well, Paul, I'll tell you something, old man. And I mean that with the utmost respect. I'm going to show you something that'll help you a lot.
Oh yeah, I know.
I mean that
Yeah, but
with,
if you're
with
trying to measure
all due
something,
respect.
no,
I
you
know,
gotta get
I
the
understand.
readers.
You know, I even with, you know, I wear these, you know, and I'm sitting there
Yep.
going,
You get
you
the
know, all right.
the +3 readers, because you can't measure something and hold your magnifying glass at the same time. There, Jim.
Well, when it's on a machine, you can. I mean,
This
you
is
know,
true.
because
Understand.
we learned to sit down, you know, and hold the mic in the hand like this, come up underneath it, and start turning, you know. And
Yep.
once you start getting there, and then you'll take it down, you'll look at it, and then you'll can take your magnifying glass and you can start looking at it. You start counting lines, and okay, you get there.
This
My
has been
one
a pretty
set
good
of
topic tonight. You know that?
oh yeah, my one set of Starrett 1-inch mic is from 1940. What is it? 42, 42 or 43.
And you must have bought them secondhand, or was given or inherited.
They were given to me by my my sister's father-in-law, because he was he worked at Whitecap during World War II to make cans for for K rations.
Yep.
So, and he was in charge of quality control there, and so yeah, that's and his son had just no use for him whatsoever. Was not anywhere near mechanically inclined to do anything.
You know what though, Paul? Those 0 to 1 mics you're talking about, they're still
Yeah.
good to this day, unless you.
Oh, they are. They are
Still good to this day, and they're over 50 years old. It's closer to 70 years old.
I know they're they're probably were made in 1939, okay, or something like that. He didn't get to be in charge of the line at Whitecap when they were when he was working. So yeah, right. GGW Outdoors. You can't beat Brown and Sharp. There are just some of that old stuff is unreal, and how we get there nowadays, to get to the same quality, we can get to the same quality a lot easier, I think.
Yep.
But do we
A
get
lot more cheaply too?
Cheaply is the thing, though. It's cheaply.
No, okay. I should use the word. Shouldn't use that word because it refers back to the cheap plastic caliper that I was talking about earlier. And I'm not beating Ray up in any way whatsoever. I'm kind of tickled that he had them. I'm glad he got 30 good years out of them. But the point is, they're more inexpensive because production always lessens the price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
Plus
what
modern
did we
production.
What did we pay for bullets back in the 70s, Jim?
Oh God, I remember something like buying 22 ammo for $5 a brick, penny a pound, or penny.
Okay.
Joking, a penny a pound.
All right, but when
penny
you
a
were
piece.
reloading bullets, what were you paying for them? Do you remember?
I don't know, to tell you the truth, Ray or Paul.
Okay.
I think the
just don't know.
lowest I ever remember paying for 223 bullets, box of Hornady for 100 was probably $7.50, $8. Lowest
That
I can
sounds about
remember.
right.
Mm-hmm. That's about right, because I used to buy them in the 5,000 and 6,000 case. You bought 5,000 or of the soft points and 6,000 of the full metal jackets. But yeah, 750 or whatever, and now they're they ain't that much more, really, for that bullet.
About $15, I think.
No, we've had them on sale locally for $10 for a long time.
Really?
That's right.
Remember, that's what those ones I've been getting forever haven't increased at all since the
Right.
pandemic.
So you're sitting there, you're looking at but inflation wise, we're sitting there looking at what
So
what the dollar's been worth.
$7.50 in 1970 is about $55 right now.
Okay.
Wow.
So your box of bullets was $7.50. Now it'd be $55.
That's what I'm trying to. We're still in a place where even if I went and bought a set of 100 burger bullets, boat tail match that are going to cost me $38 or $39, I'm still considering them they're a better bullet than they were before.
Mm-hmm. More
There's
consistent.
more consistent. The jackets are made better. The lead is better. Everything else. We've improved. We complain about what we pay for it, but that's just us.
Mhm.
We're cheap because we're reloaders. Save a nickel on that case. Don't let that case get away, guys.
Right?
Right?
I guess really the only thing that's jumped drastically is primers, really. You know, powder's hung anywhere from $15 to $25 a pound for a long time, and like I say, you just said bullets really haven't jumped that much. Just primers, the only thing that's gone crazy.
Yeah.
Primers are by supply and demand right now.
Yeah.
So they get down, they're going to be $75, okay? That's where they're going to be. And before this happened, we were paying $50.
Yeah.
So yeah, Zeke, I don't understand how I'm broke too, because I've been saving all this money reloading. I don't understand it. I mean, you know, the latest presses. I heard a rumor. Now, I don't know yet, guys, but I heard a rumor that our favorite vaporware is going to be coming out in October. They're going to release 50 of them. So we'll see what people say about that. And well, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Anybody got any questions out there? No? Yes, that's what we've heard. The FX, you know, press is going to be coming out. They're going to let 50 of them go. Lakeview Outdoors, I understand that, you know, $35.99 for pre-pandemic primers. Would you believe that I have some primers that were set for my 7mm mag that are listed for, if I remember correctly, $10.99, 1,000. Okay, and the box is about half gone. You know, CCI large rifle magnums. They I bought a box of them just to wear out that barrel.
Computer locked up.
Fun. Spudman76 says we spend paper to shoot paper.
Yeah.
I think Gresham said it pretty good. We like turning money into noise.
Sure. And just think, guys, this way. You know, the older you get, the more expensive your toys get.
That's why old guys have vets. That, and they're finally, hopefully, mature enough they won't wreck them. But anyway, That was reasonably close ago. What
Yeah,
episode was that?
Didn't we talk about it 2 episodes ago on that? 16?
I think so.
Because last episode was the competition reloading.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was 16.
416.
416. Yes. The one that goes on a single stage press. Yeah, you have a die that fits the into the ram, and that has the swaging size. You have a cup that goes over it that is set to knock the case off, and then you you have a die that goes into where the regular die goes to with a rod in it to hold the case as you raise the press handle or lower the press handle.
Raise the ram, lower.
Right, raise the ram, lower the press handle.
Yep. For guaranteed, it was 416. I just went back and watched.
So, yeah, there's that. There's the Dylan. There's the RCBS that by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can cut them out with trimmers and all different ways of taking care of them. But swaging is the best. Or you could go out and spend the $2,000 for a Dylan 2000 and or 1100 and just get the swager that's built in it. Or what is it, $10,000 for the Mark 7?
Yeah.
With the auto drive.
Like
that way you don't even have to worry about it. You just look at the screen and set it and forget it.
Oh, let's see here. I'm just trying to look for
any questions.
You could always get the Lee APP too.
Yeah, there you go.
So anyway, that's about all I got for tonight. So so if you're watching this live or you watch this before the end of September, you can still get that barrier stop for free if you use coupon code FRN when you buy that XPB 55616 GovC barrel from Expo Arms. It's a chrome lined AR-15 government profile mid-length 16-inch barrel. So otherwise, let's see here.
That ought to be a Barker 16-inch barrel.
Yeah, shouldn't be too bad. Otherwise, right now they've got a fall kickoff savings sale going on. So check that out. And they've always got new stuff going on sale, new stuff on clearance. So, or different stuff on clearance, I should say. So make sure you swing over to Primary Arms, check them out. I want to take time to thank Jake and Ryan over at Patriot Patch Company. Come on, computer. patch of the month for September. There's 2 of them. So we don't want to focus on my ugly face. We want to focus on the patch, you dumb thing. There we go. So we got Lady Liberty. And then we've got Justice. Notice Justice is blindfolded. So those are the cool patches for the month. I haven't seen October's yet. Six-Pack Project wants to know, how do we get mill crimp ammo to be uncool again? Life was so much better when it didn't exist. Don't buy it. The reason it's out there is because it was all surplus stuff that they aren't selling to the military, so they got to get rid of it somehow. And they know there's lots of suckers out there that will buy it. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to like it when they demilled it. You know, that was to me was fun.
Yeah.
That's what I do with most of it when I buy it. I just usually pull it and use it for the components. Usually, it's cheap enough.
Yep. So, but yeah, it's kind of one of those things that now that nobody's buying them. If anybody knows where Gen Champ Jr. can find some 200 grain Nosler 308s, let him know. He's looking for some. Maybe reach out to Nosler themselves and see. They may not be making them right now, or they may have discontinued them for something else. So, unfortunately, that's one of the things with COVID is a lot of people looked at their product lineups and kind of pared them back. So,
Which bullet? That's the thing. 200, because they make tons of different ones in 200 grain. I just didn't know which bullet he's looking for.
I'm not sure. That's a good question. Gen Champ Jr., which style bullet?
The partition. We looking like the soft points, Accubons.
What do you think? Is it Patreon for support for us, Mike, or is there another
Yeah.
one?
No, Patreon's a good way to support us. Yeah, I mean, Patreon's a really good way. It helps us pay the bills and stay on the air. So, helps us get some extra stuff sometimes. Like I said, when we get caught up, which I just posted 4 episodes back to back. So, and then I've got Chris is helping edit, Jason's helping edit, and Jason's son is helping edit. I think Jason sent me 2 to get posted yet, so I'll get those done, and then hopefully by the end of the week we'll have some more posted. So, and once we get caught up, we got some stuff to start giving away. So, and Gen Champ Jr. said Accubon 200 grain 308s. So if anybody knows where to find some of them, get a hold of Gen Champ Jr. and let them know. Or send us an email, reloadingpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll reach out to them. So once again, that's reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can send us a text or leave us a voicemail at 608-467-0308. You can find us on social media, Facebook, MeWe, Discord, Instagram. If you're looking for the Discord link or an invite to Discord, send one of us a PM or send us an email, reloadingpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll get you that. So Discord's a lot of fun and not a lot of oversight. So
Have a thick skin. You go there.
Yeah. So yeah, we will give you crap if you're there, and we will expect it back. So anyway, On that note, keep your brass shiny.
Jump on the mill short bus.
Teach them to shoot and reload when they're young.
Don't listen to your mama. Like Grandpa said, violence does solve problems.
Support the Second Amendment. 2A all the way. 2A forever. It's the real teeth behind the Bill of Rights.
That's right. The second protects the rest. And remember, if you're struggling, gang, there's help out there, 988. If you're on a cell phone or if you're on a landline, 1-800-273-8255. They're willing. They're out there to help. Reach out. We want you here. We need you here. Thanks, gang. Good night.